Go ahead and call our regular scheduled commissioner meeting of July 1st, 2024. To order with the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First up, approval of minutes from our regular meeting of June 17th, 2024. I'd like a motion to approve.
I'll second that motion.
Motion from Jerry, a second by Randy. Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Approval of claims.
Make motion to approve.
I'll second that motion to approve the claims as submitted.
Got a motion from Jerry, a second from Randy. Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Highway Superintendent Dusty Hunt.
I forgot to make you all notes, but I got a list here. So we had trouble with our oil truck, as you all know. We had to order a new hydraulic motor to put on it. We finally got the fog oil sprayed off of it. Next week, I plan on starting our fog seal project back up. The slip at the bottom of Scott's Ridge and the Curry's Hill is done. We had to take gravel down there and rebuild the shoulders on each side, and that they installed guardrail today on them two slips. We also been trying to get caught up on our mowing since we got 3/4 of the way done with chip and seal. And on that slip down there, it tore the road up pretty good on both sides. So I was thinking before we put that chipper up, if you all were good with it, we might go down there and chip that small section there to get the road base back to good shape.
Scotch Ridge.
Yeah. It's probably about 200 feet total. It needs to be something done with the surface there.
I'm sorry.
And the last thing I got, the dirt we talked about here a while back, I measured it today and there's roughly 18,000 square yards there.
Cubic yards.
Yeah, cubic yards, yes. It was like 17,980 something is what I calculated.
That's up at Martin.
Yep.
Correct.
Mhm. So I got.
So starting back Monday, chip and seal, fog seal.
Yes.
Starting back.
Yes,
How many roads you have left to fog coat?
we got, basically, we only got a quarter of one done, so we got.
So you got a quarter of an LE.
Yeah. We got four, about 7 or 8 left to do. And we got one small piece on the bottom of Wade Hill. We had leftover oil down there, so we run maybe 300 foot up Wade Hill to get rid of that oil when it was chipping still.
How long will it take to do that?
Shouldn't take too long. I'd say 3 days maybe. And it all depends on, I can't order a full tanker load because I need to travel so far, but it goes a lot quicker when you're spraying just fog seal instead of chipping. So I'll have to order partial tanks like to do the 2 in this area and then order a partial to do the 4 down here. So probably 2 partials, maybe 3 at the most, and then we'll be done.
got a couple other quick questions. I'm quiet for myself, but, Brown Road, only thing we got left to do is gravel with.
Yes.
Any thoughts on when? Not that it matters a whole lot, there's limited traffic on that road.
Yeah, I'm gonna see what Roger's got tomorrow. We might be able to start on it tomorrow, but if not, it'll be one day next week. We should be able to start it on.
Garage is closed Thursday. What about Friday? You guys like, you open Friday?
No.
Okay.
Well, there
We're on-
is,
Yes, that's what I thought. Okay, that's why I was kind of just double checking. Yeah.
Yep.
That's the last understood. So it's,
Yep. 14.
and I know you and I have already had this conversation a little bit. Carpenter's Crossings approaches are. We've kind of kicked back and forth whether the county does it or we get bids. If we're gonna get bids, then we'll have to draw up something to bid too.
Right. Yeah.
What would you prefer, I guess?
It doesn't matter to me, whatever you all want done.
Cause I know that right now there's nothing running over it.
Right.
Dry. Not that we can't work around that if there is, as long as it's not.
Yeah, as long as it's not flooding out, yeah. I don't have a preference, whatever you all want to do. As soon as we get the fog sealing done, we gotta get caught up on the mowing, but I'll have enough guys that we can still do that and mow, so.
So if we said, okay, we'll just do it ourselves. 3 weeks, 2 weeks out.
I'd say close to 2, depending on how this oil truck does on the fog seal. If everything works out like it's supposed to, I'm hoping we got everything fixed, but until we get another load of oil put on the truck, I don't know.
Jerry, Randy, do you guys have an opinion or a thought? As far as us doing it or quoting it?
what exactly would be the project down there?
The approaches on both ends of the crossing at
Mhm.
Carpenter's Crossing. Like one of them's 80 foot and the other one's 40 foot something. Ballpark 125 feet of length.
Probably less expensive if we do it instead of putting it out on the process. And probably get it done sooner as well. I'd be in favor of us trying to do it.
Same here. Smoke on me.
Fine either way. We're just planning on trying to do it ourselves and hopefully, I hate to wish for no rain, but.
Right. Well, we can take some rain still.
Right.
Sounds good.
Old business, Marty, cameras for courthouse.
Would you like to know?
Well, I guess where will the cameras go and who will monitor them?
Okay, the plan is to go through the main hallway of both the old and the new courthouse, focusing on the front doors,
First level,
first level only. The judge would like one upstairs at his entrance door, and they're planning on putting some kind of remote lock on the door. They would like to, I don't know when that'll happen. That's up to them. And they want a camera there. They're gonna monitor the cameras.
so
Someone in. the
judge's office will
office
do monitor, so there'll be a dedicated monitor or whatever,
Right.
screen, whatever.
To watch whatever we end up putting in. Right now, it's gonna be 8. If they want one for the judge, it'd be one extra camera. Nothing huge in cost, $100 or less.
So you've got 4 entries on the first level, right?
8.
Well, there is 8.
Well, it got doors, yeah, but there are gonna be 8 cameras monitoring, so that we can get them coming and going.
Gotcha.
And then on all doors.
So it'll be inside and
out.
Well, not outside. We're not planning on putting anything outside at the present time. Jeff thought it would be all right to have somebody, one watching them coming in the door and one watching them walking to the door. Coming and going.
Do we have that code?
Marty, what do we have to do to get some kind of a quote on the outside of the back part of this building?
I would have to probably speak with Kevin and see what they've had and where they're routed, or if they're wireless, but they have to have power. So they may be wireless cameras that they're connecting with in the past. But I would start with him and then we could go and see what kind of cameras we could buy that would fit in your existing fixture. I wouldn't want to have to replace all that. I would say we ought to be able to get a good camera and put in there. But right now I can't even tell you a cost. I mean, you know, if they're pan tilt zoom, you're in the $250 per camera range. That's about the best I can tell you. And that gives you some real features to zoom in and out up 30 times. They're pretty nice. I put a few of them in. You can even set them up on, like, start here and rotate for me around the yard and then come back and do that again. We have them at the sewer plant in Florence. And that camera monitors the mailbox and then it goes back and monitors the tanks. But I can't, you know, that's just, if you want a ballpark price, about $250 just for the hardware, then whatever labor it took.
It was just my understanding that was this, whatever we, the sheriff switched to over there is not compatible with ours up here, so we're not, our cameras aren't.
They're non-functional
They're non-functional.
from what I understand, and that's it, is, are they actually running underground over there? Is it a physical wire, or were they using wireless? I don't know. I'd have to get with Kevin and see. If it's running through the basement, it would probably be in this closet out here. You know, some kind of facility that they ran across the street, like we did for our remote backup. We have a wire, physical wire running across the street.
Something you can look into,
Sure.
kind of get back to what we've understood so far. These are doing nothing, and it was probably pricey to get onto their system. It wasn't thought of when they switched, so.
I don't know what.
Something we need to get an idea of what we're looking at.
Sure. Yeah, I'll get with Kevin and see where it's at and what's been done in the past and how they managed them and where they got, how they contacted them, whether it was wireless or wired. They may have ran wire right out down to the manhole instead of running it through the building. I don't know. All the wiring in the building that we're talking about will be minimal. There may be some, we'll be using some kind of conduit to hide the wiring instead of like this.
Track stuff.
Well, some kind of tracking we'll use. But instead of just having a wire hang there, like we do on the ID thing, or the payroll thing we installed. I was told to just do that and hang it, leave it alone. So we didn't go any farther with it, but that should have probably been in conduit of some sort.
That's all I have on that.
So just to refresh everybody's memory, the original quote was to install 8 cameras with 16 channel NVR, 4 TV system, parts and labor, $2,000.
We're going nine cameras now.
What's that?
We're adding another camera, correct?
That'd be up to the judge if he wants to do that, and when they're ready for it, it wouldn't be a big deal to add it. The network's throughout the building. I can jump on it anywhere. With another camera whenever they need to.
It's monitored by the judges.
But from what I'm hearing, a camera's like maybe $100.
Yeah, yeah, you can get these are not pan tilt zoom. They're 130-degree camera, which is pretty good. They used to be 90, so now we're getting 130 degrees out of each camera, so you get the corners a little more. They don't zoom out and zoom in. You just get what you get. They're fixed. But you start getting into the pan tilt zoom, you're in the 250 and up. Maybe even more, depending on where you're gonna put it. I mean, how thick you get to put it, stuff like that.
Folks, $2,000 to install these cameras.
Yeah,
Need a motion for that then?
I do if we want to purchase them.
I think
yeah,
we
it's
should.
up to you. They asked me,
I
I just
think we
gave
should
them
purchase them. you know, so
what it is.
I agree. If you're not gonna make one, I will.
I'm going to. So no, I believe we should do it. It's a safety issue.
It's something, more than we got, and
Right.
if somebody came in, at least we might be able to know who it was.
Exactly.
We might have a chance at it.
I don't want to take.
Probably 30-day memory. You know,
More than likely, it'll cover 30 days. The more cameras, the less time, but,
right.
and we can even get it longer if we just say record when there's motion, because there's no sense in recording all night long. If somebody breaks in, it'll kick on, but why record the hallways at night? So those are some of the things. When I usually set up a system, I'll have it record 24 hours a day, 7 days a week for about a month. Check it out, see what we got. If we got 30 days, if we get 10 days, what do we get? Then we start saying, okay, these cameras we don't want on all the time, just when there's motion. So that you can have a longer period of time, to go back. Something happens, you might not notice somebody taking something off of a desk the first day, but when you go look for it. Right. And you can look back for a month and say it was there on the 20th, but it's gone on the 23rd, so it happened somewhere.
Any idea how long it would take to get this job completed?
Offhand, right now, I gotta finish the Wi-Fi at the tech center. I've been working on that. I put in a few hours at night down in the basement trying to set it up so that when I go, I can just do it. It shouldn't take very long. It's not gonna cost you anymore if it takes me a week or a month, but it should take a few days,
Right.
in reality.
Be done by the end of the month, possible.
Oh, yeah, by the end of July, definitely.
Okay.
I was hoping to start it, after the 4th sometime, about the 10th or 15th, if you approved it.
All right.
Shouldn't take but, a few days to run the wiring. Put it in, clean it up, make it look good.
Good deal. All right. Well, I'm good. I'll make a motion that we accept this bid, approve this bid for $2,000 for the 8 cameras for the inside the courthouse by Hankins Computer Source.
Second that motion.
A motion from Randy, a second from Jerry to approve quote from Hankins Computer Service for the courthouse security camera install in the amount of $2,000. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye. Thank you.
Thank
Thanks,
you, Mark.
Mark. Bids for county buildings and roofs. I'm gonna open this up for discussion before we go ahead and open the bids. If Randy, you or Jerry have any questions, comments, concerns, it's
This is,
obviously a fairly large project. That's it. I'll just open it up for discussion.
I know probably running it by legal counsel afterwards probably wouldn't be a bad idea. I mean, we open these bids up and do something. Like you say, it's a large amount of dollars right here. So it's dot lines and crossing T's might not be a bad idea. But city county lawyer review it.
I don't disagree. In fact, I think we need to, whatever the bids are, the contracts that's in here, if there's specific contracts that needs to be run by legal counsel to make sure he's okay with the contract itself. One of the things that we did, and I apologize for not getting them to everybody quicker. So I know it was kind of, you only had a couple of days, 2 or 3 days to get the questionnaires submitted back to us. Tonight's the first time I've seen them. I briefly looked through them, and there's one question about citizenships and legal citizens. Several of the comments are that the employees are 1099, but you can 1099 anybody, right? It doesn't mean they're legal. So, that doesn't necessarily cover knowing whether they are citizens or working visa holding, members of the United States, if you will. So I'm not sure I'm not sure that really tells me a lot, that they're 1099able, so, because again, you can 1099 anybody, but,
Did you have counsel look at that before you handed that out?
yes, I did.
Okay, I'm just asking.
But yes, legal counsel did review it before we came in. Again, because it is such a large project, and I'm not gonna sit up here and say I know anything about roofing a doghouse, let alone what we're quoting on these jobs. So, it's all gonna be foreign to me. I can't speak for Randy or Jerry. They might be roofing experts. But if they are, I don't know why they're commissioners. It should be roofing instead. But I think it's probably a good idea for us to run it by, at a minimum, run them by our legal counsel. So, if we so choose to open them tonight, which is, I guess, is gonna be my recommendation, that we do so, and we decide to award it, that award will be pending review from our legal counsel. And or insurance. And in fact, I started to ask our insurance to be present tonight, and got so late in the game, I didn't feel right asking him on the day of, so I didn't ask, but.
Yeah, I understand. They should get a look at it, as well as the attorney to see that it's, following where our claims.
Right.
What the adjustments versus the bids are.
Right. The other thing that I already have seen, most of the questionnaires either didn't put, what your insurance or bonding is. Some of them show like $1 million. And again, this will be something that we have to ask legal counsel. Obviously, there's a significant risk to when we do the courthouse dome. I don't think $1 million is probably going to cover it, just to be completely honest. I think one of the contractors was here last meeting and said, you remember when they was redoing the Copper Dome on Madison, they burnt the courthouse down. So, I don't think, one of the things I think we need to do is go back and look to see what our coverage is on the courthouse. That doesn't mean you're gonna have to be bonded for that much, but again, I want an opinion by both the insurance company and, our legal counsel on what would be an appropriate bonding. Obviously, that may require an adjusting of the quote. I understand that, but, and if it does, it does. We'll just have to, go from there in that regard or that respect. With that said, Jerry, or Randy, are you opposed to go ahead and open the bids?
No issues.
One last question. Is there anyone, and not everyone's represented, but is there anyone that's here that didn't quote the entire project? Because if the entire project isn't quoted, then, I'm not, personally, I'm not interested, before we open up, we'll have this discussion. I'm not interested in considering those quotes.
You got to compare apples to apples.
That's right. You have thought? Problem is, depending on how they're written,
I
I
know.
don't know if I'm gonna know whether it's entire quote or not.
Should be able to look at the second page, shouldn't we?
Hopefully.
Or the first page. I don't remember how it was. That's the old one, isn't it?
And so,
Is that the old one? No.
well, that's,
Yeah, I think that's it right there.
that's got,
That right there.
What's that?
Maybe.
Well, Randy's got it.
I've got the old one.
Here it is, but
It's,
it takes us a long time to go through each one of them.
Yeah, I did that.
It's a lot.
that doesn't have the additional 5 buildings.
Five buildings, right?
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
You get a flat list of all of them.
You ready to write, or you want me to?
Tell you what, there probably will be a couple of us right here.
First one will be regional roofing. I do have their questionnaire.
should have kept John's.
Should have kept John's thing, I don't know where it went.
Dagger.
I'm sure this is sharp enough. It works. Regional roofing here.
Regional roofing, is regional roofing here? No.
Okay. I think I'm understanding that. My next question is, so they've got sales tax included. Obviously the county shouldn't pay sales tax. Oh, I'm just gonna assume. Did everybody put sales tax in theirs?
They should have got it individually over the top.
No, it's a lump sum number, so I can subtract it out.
The county is not exempt, or exempt, that's why I was asking the question. You have to.
Just don't want to make any mistakes, right?
This is a big project.
And I won't do it down to the penny, but it'll be down to the dollar anyways.
Or, you know what I mean?
Total project quote from regional roofing is $560,960.
560 what?
560, 960. I didn't do the pennies. And it's some odd cents, but
Yeah, that's good.
of $160,000 and $960
That's without
without
sales tax. Next contractor is Tim Coco.
If we have a question,
So I'm gonna look, see if it's in here. Does have the questionnaire. Again, it's just a sum total vote. And you said it did not include sales tax. Initial sales tax. Bid is in the amount of $565,000
Ethan,
even. Next quote is Block Right. Do have a questionnaire filled out. Quote is in the amount of, it's got sales tax.
Mr. Peters.
Yeah,
Also on page 2, if you look at the top, it's an allocation of 12% deducted from that amount. The county would have a supervisor.
quote is in the amount of $596,665, not including sales tax.
596,
665.
665.
What'd you say about page 2?
Page 2 at the very top, just below the introduction. See if there's an allocation, additional 12%. That will allow the county to have a supervisor. Big bold. You can flip
This
that page
page?
over. Yep, flip that one over right there at the top.
But that's already included in your pricing, right?
No, sir.
It says it is.
The
It says all non-plat related pricing has been reduced by 12%.
The O and P. Yes, sir.
Exterior pro. I believe at the last meeting, you said you didn't quote 100% of the work. Is it now quoted?
It's 100%. I have a note there. The difference is in power. Four guys were there for the cover, the clock tower. And it just had this, that it doesn't need to necessarily be replaced. We're proposing to replace the flat section instead of that one.
So you didn't quote what the insurance company identified.
Not on the clock tower, but everything else is going in there.
Well, based on what I said before, we started and we agreed upon, I don't think we should open exterior pros roofing quote because I think it'll just create confusion. It does not include what the insurance company asked to be quoted. That's the end here. If I did a minute.
But if you open it, you will see, it kind of, it's about the same because it's the same kind of category for.
But you're telling me you didn't quote doing anything to the tower,
That's the only thing.
just flashing or something, I think is what you said. I think that would be a significant difference, so. Again.
It's in line to what everything else is, so you're welcome to open it so that everybody sees it.
I'm not gonna open it, I don't see any reason to confuse things, and if we don't have to, anyway. Next quote is Bolton and Powell Builders. Do have their questionnaire. I don't know. Yeah. I don't know if it includes sales tax because it doesn't say. So I'm going to assume that it doesn't. And see if there's sales tax on any of these individually. I'm going to assume that it doesn't. It doesn't show a sales tax item in the total. Quotes in the amount of 687,426. The next quote is from, or bid quote is from JJ Sullivan. Do have a questionnaire. Quote is in the amount of $550,240.
We got those sections.
That's it. Yep.
All pretty close except for one. Last one didn't have sales tax on, I'm assuming.
I assume it did and didn't say it. It says total.
That's why.
So on Lockrite, I know what you said, but I also know what your quote says. Your quote, again, I'll read it. It says all all non-copper related pricing has been reduced by 12% for county project management supervision salary. That tells me that 12% reduction is already included in that quote.
It's to come out of the O and P in the last two. I apologize for the wording on that. It's to come out of the O and P. If you look at the last page, you see the bottom down there, it says overhead and profit, 51,000, $73,280 is being allocated from that amount to cover for the county supervisor, in which you guys discussed.
Which you've already got it out though, right?
No, it didn't come off of that number. No. I sent you the email that was attached to that whenever I submitted it in, so I'm sorry about that.
I don't have the email, so.
I was not really supposed to.
If you guys have any questions? Does it affect it if it's truly supposed to be 12% yet less? Then yeah, it does affect it, but that's not what the quote says. And I don't think we can sit here and read quotes and then give people the opportunity to say, oh, well, I'll lower mine by X now. I know what everybody else quoted.
I have no idea. Don't know where I want to go with this.
So
I'm gonna ask a
going
few
to do
questions.
a motion pending
pending legal review.
the legal review and the insurance.
Yep.
Uh,
If we make a motion, yeah.
yeah. Which is a cap.
Well, I think we wanna have the insurance. Look to see that the bids are actually covering all the work.
It's good. It's gonna be kind of, well, we'll only have to do it for, if we make a motion to award it to that person, we'll need to keep these in case there becomes an issue with that contractor, so that we can then go back to, I guess, the next lowest quote, et cetera. And go through that same process with them as well. And I would also like to ask whoever we get, if we make a motion and award it pending legal review, proof of licensing and, or excuse me, insurance and bonding, also references probably.
Do you want the contractor to meet with the attorney? Is that what you would
I-
recommend?
I don't think he needs to, but he or she,
Well, I'm just saying.
unless the attorney has questions, then.
Right, that's what I'm saying. McGrath isn't a roofer just like you guys are. He may
Right.
have some questions that isn't specific on.
Yeah, he's just gonna look at whatever the contract is and say legally whether it's a binding contract and protects the county. I mean,
On the insurance side, they should be able to look through it and see. It's not
Right.
fair scope of work.
So
Correct.
are you wanting to like have an actual contract instead of something
We will have an actual contract, yes, and we'll probably get,
to make them something?
the legal counsel to draft that contract.
That's what I was trying to. Because on these bids, they may not even sign them. So
We ran into that. A little bit, so. Back a while back, first time we did some work on Coop Little, the elderly gentleman.
Oh, yeah. They're good.
I had to go out there and ship the work back, but this was fighting us about what was done, what. So I don't want to run into that.
So I would tell you that JJ Sullivan was the low bidder, followed by Regional Roofing, then by Tip Coco, Lockrite, and Bolton Powell. Well, I don't think that, I honestly think to some of the points that were made at the last meeting, there'll be supplementals
Yeah, I mean, I was.
considerably more.
I was expecting.
I don't know, total number of buildings, 10,
That's
11?
what we're working on, that's what me and we're both talking about, what, on the supplementing part, I mean, how, who is gonna be responsible, I mean, we don't know normally, I'm assuming, but is that, you know, what I mean, does that go to the?
Like in the questionnaire, all supplementals will have to come to the county commissioners first for approval, whoever the project manager is. Right now, we plan on that being our building inspector. So those supplementals would have to go through him, be approved by the commissioners before being submitted to
The insurance.
the insurance company, correct?
Would that full amount that, if approved by insurance, would that full amount be allocated then to the contractor? Or is that gonna be a percentage base or do you know how that, because I mean, supplementals is a large, you know how to supplement, it's a large increase. I'm expecting nearly close to $150,000, $180,000 in supplementals just by flying through these projects.
I agree. Oh, well over 100.
Yeah, significant. The majority of that would be
Stuff they didn't cover for one.
correct.
But they would go back then and cover it, right? Because it's gonna be stuff that you identified during your demo, if you will.
Amen.
And so then they should be also, if they're concerned with it, they should be having an adjuster come back, I would assume.
Well, usually if pictures justify, whatever, I mean, yeah, but some way they'll prove it.
Right. Which then they should approve it.
And we wouldn't do
Or
it.
not
until
approve it,
was
whichever is the
correct.
case. And it's gonna be based on the work you submitted along with the cost for that work.
Correct.
Cost and time and material, whatever.
And I don't know if the county's policy, because contractors can argue policy and so you can't be a PA in GC. You can't be a PA in contract. You just can't, it's a conflict of interest. So it also depends on if the county has building code enforcement. So like I just done his father-in-law's house and the increase was nearly, the original bid was on 14 grand. The increase was 16,200 some odd dollars because of building code enforcement that was built inside of the policy. They covered that. So that, I mean, there's a lot of different ifs and ands that could potentially fall into that. And then the other, I guess,
I
question.
would think with our building inspector being the one that's, you have to go to for the supplementals, if there's any building code enforcement that applies to that specific work, then he should know it.
Yeah, he's saying more your insurance policy.
Do they
He's talking
pay
about
for
the
it?
policy. Some policies don't cover that stuff.
Correct.
That's
Does
what-
insurance pay for it or does the county pay for it? That's a
Yeah,
huge-
so you could have an insurance policy with.
Something I'll have to ask the insurance company, because I don't know the answer to that.
And the only other, I guess, major question that I would have as of right now would be type of material that's being used. Because you can go all the way from 0 class to class 4 on shingles. You're talking 500 plus squares. The difference in even purchasing this large of a project would be $10 to $15 per bundle. You're talking 3 bundles per square. That's 1,500 bundles. That's $30,000 just in a material difference for shingles alone. I mean, the clad flashing, there's many different things that could actually fall into that category there. What type of EPDM? If it's a fire A, there's so many different variables, I guess, that would fall into that.
And we may ask our building inspector to go through each one and make sure that we are comparing apples to apples. I know it's gonna be difficult because there's some that's just a lump sum amount and there is no detail.
I think JJ answered all kinds on this question here.
Oh, that should have been. This,
Yeah.
what class of
It's on its.
material they're using,
Oh, it's morning.
should have been in their bids.
So,
I'm not willing to.
okay, I'll just
Charge $150,000.
I'll just tell you this right now, so, and I picked JJ's because she said JJ, I was going back and looking. On his, he put copper prices change daily, this bid good from 628 to 714, but he didn't put current copper price down, so it'd be easy for you to come back and say, well, I quoted at $5 a pound, it's $20 a pound now, so that's something that, as far as I'm concerned, is a problem for this quote. But it doesn't say what materials on any of it, no. Says 50-year shingle, standing seam metal, fit 40-year warranty. Other than that, doesn't say,
It says Owen Sporting Shingles.
it doesn't say on warranty. But I can tell you, I wouldn't accept this bid having reviewed it just 2 seconds because the copper is a significant cost. And if you don't know what your beginning number is, then pretty easy to cheat me on the ending number, right?
As of 714, yeah. Either, no.
Right.
Right, he just take the tower out of there, then just get completely different things, because that's what, most are kind of waiting on to see what they're going.
Well, if I know what your base price is on the copper, then when you do the work, I can check what the price was that day very easily. It's open market material and know that, yeah, they're fair. It was that price that day, for example. So, but if I don't know what your starting price is, then shame on me.
I agree. Well, I mean, it's gonna be up. I mean, there's so many variables, like you said, I understand your seat. You gotta go with what the price is on the paper.
Right.
I mean, I get it, especially if it doesn't change. I understand. I mean, you're right. I mean, you gotta, it's hard to have a starting point when you got somebody else's scope, you know what I mean? Because you know what you need as a roofer, you know what I mean, once you get, and so it's, I mean, but you're not gonna know till you get after it, so. Yeah, you gotta go what's on paper, I get it.
And then, another thing is like ABC, a lot of guys use ABC or we, both of them had just sent out emails to all contractors that have accounts, right? Saying that August 1st, material supply is going up 6 to 10% for all roofing material. 6 to 10%, I mean, that's a pretty dramatic jump. Is that gonna be passed along to the contractor? Because all these are gonna start after August 1st. There's no way, I don't care who you are, that if you got 15 people that's on your crew that's gonna jump on top of that jail and go through it, you're not gonna be able to get a full material list of serial numbers of skylights and box vents and the type of ventilation that's required for that, and get it dropped here and finished within the next month. It's just, it won't happen.
Well, I would think those terms and conditions would be included in whatever the contract is that our legal counsel draws up, and we'll have to all, or
Agree or not agree?
the contractor will have to agree or not agree, correct?
It is a big project, I wouldn't lie, so good luck. We are fit.
Just talk to me right now.
Just have the, that's something the attorney's gonna have to look at, you know, what kind of material, what kind of.
I mean, that's just,
They just put the price. He probably didn't need to use it.
all of them should, I
He
mean,
probably was
you know,
on contracting.
to me, they're shooting up, push this up, hey, that's an accurate price.
But he did put the date on there. Just the date. Price is on that date.
I'm saying, look, if anybody gives it to business, that's just like change.
You can sit here all day. You can sit here all day.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, it's
Just
well, I'm
either make it contingent.
I'm looking at these numbers. I'm all of them.
Well, they're definitely all below what the final price will be. There's no doubt whatsoever there will be,
I mean, that's what stuns me. I mean, it's not for shit.
and again, I don't know. I don't know. We have 10 or 11 buildings, our deduction is 10,000 per building. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Is it per building or is it just like in the sheriff office, the courthouse, you got sheriff, is that one?
I think it's per building, but
That's another thing you have to.
but we'll find out.
That's per building. And then you could be just not That's crazy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Those
Because
three.
the ones in the town should be that amount, and the ones.
Jail's not, like 5 years old.
Doesn't matter, storm came through.
The bottom line is you need the attorney.
So
Yeah.
But. You don't wanna wait.
Right.
And get it, right.
I just don't like that.
So I'll entertain a motion. So I guess I'll go ahead and make a motion.
Yeah, I was just.
Based on the bid of $550,240 from JJ Sullivan, I'd make a motion to award the construction work from storm damage to Sullivan Construction based on a pending review from legal counsel, the insurance company, and a list of references provided by Sullivan Construction. Got a motion from Jamie, second from Jerry. Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. If for whatever reason Sullivan Construction doesn't qualify, my intent would be go back in order from lowest bidder, next lowest, the next lowest, the next lowest.
Just verify with regional, since you subtracted that large number off, he was anticipating getting the 80 or 90.
Correct.
So make sure.
So you gotta remember, he does pay sale tax, so that's, I mean, I'll make sure he's okay with paying it.
Yeah, he has to pay the sales tax.
Cause he's buying it, you see what I'm getting at?
Yeah, he's expecting to get that 580 or whatever his bid was.
Good point.
You know
So
what I mean?
make sure
That's where you
that
gotta look.
he might say, yeah, I would do it for that, but he might not.
I'm glad you also had sales tax on yours, correct? And I took it off.
Yeah.
Are you okay with it?
Yeah, I just, yeah, cause I mean,
Yeah,
it's,
just-
that's a big number for him. I just make sure he ain't here, so.
Yeah, because
He does gotta pay sales tax.
even though you don't.
Right.
He shouldn't have to, should he? If he's doing it for a nonprofit government agency, he should be able to fit out a 10, see, a,
Pay for it.
You
One
have to
oh-
buy it.
Yeah, you have to buy it.
You have to buy it.
no. He can get a tax exempt certificate because he's doing the work for a non-taxable organization. He can get a tax exempt certificate and then not pay taxes on it.
Okay, I did a courthouse in Covington just recently, all that one.
And we didn't get that.
No, we didn't get it back.
Yeah, I looked into it. I think it's called 107. Yeah, man.
Thank you, guys.
No, thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you.
Next up, Mr. Canola, new business.
Cool.
So zoning news, Town of Beebe is proceeding with lawsuits against 5 properties under the Unsafe Building Code Act. One of them has a new owner, so not sure how that's gonna work. 5 more unsafe buildings should follow. My road continues to be awful between the new ball tire dump, which has new tires in it now, and 63 disabled vehicles in 1.5 miles. Not a good road to live on. Park news, June 20th, I donated a tool cabinet to our superintendent, Markland Park, for paint cans for storage. Wednesday, the 26th, talking to our superintendent, we should have enough money to keep our 3 youths working till the middle of July. Let's see, our shelter houses have been stained for the first time in years by the youths. I donated 15 landscape timbers. They're being used around the playground equipment, and that work has mostly been done already. Wednesday, the 26th also, saw 1 boater at Bryant's Creek and picked up trash for 10 minutes and went over to Patriot. All was well there, except I removed a sign from our lawn, as commercial signs are illegal in our parks. And that's it.
Thanks, sir.
Thanks, Sean. Lynn Gibson, dog issue.
Yeah, back here about the dogs behind us, which we've been here before. And we're still having issues with them. When Kelly was out there, she said that when they're outside, they have to be in a pen. Well, they got rid of the pen. They put them on those collars, but it doesn't work. Last Thanksgiving, the 2 dogs got out, went and tried to get in my neighbor's gate, growling and barking, trying to get their grandson. And then the 9th of June this year, the dark pit was out. It came down the alley toward my husband when he was talking to the neighbor. And then the 18th of June, the same dog was loose
Did you
again.
call on the night when it was?
I've got on here, I mean, you can see all the, I called several times, and then they finally got back and they said everything's in order, but it's not. You can't even walk up the alley. And then on the 22nd, both the brown and the gray one was loose. I mean, this has been going on since 2020.
Well, I also know that, well, let me restate that. I've been informed that the original dog that was the complaint was belonged to the son, that same dog is no longer there. Is that accurate?
What original dog?
Well, the one that maybe bit
No,
somebody?
the one
or-
that bit me is there, and it did not belong to the son. It belongs to them and it's still there, and the son is back with his brown, reddish brown one. And then they've got three there. But no, that dog's never been gone.
I'm
You
not
could
laughing at
you could ask-
Don't
yeah,
misunderstand. I'm
You could ask
I'm
all
a
the
little
neighbors.
frustrated with the fact that I get
Yeah,
inconsistent information,
I
I
know.
guess. So that's
And you know, and
my
I
trouble
took
came
and talked to them and I said, well, you should have all the reports there, all the times that we called and everything. Other people's called, not just me. And they said, they don't have no reports there, just where it bit me. So where'd that go? I mean, they should have kept that down.
Now, they're supposed to have a call log that shows who called.
That's what
for
they said. That's what they told me. But, you know, they've got to do something. We can't even walk up the alley. You know, and kids can't play. My neighbor, she's afraid to go out and sit in her swing in the backyard, you know.
That's the place right up above.
Behind me.
Behind you, the one
Yes.
okay.
Yes.
But here's the problem. The way the current ordinance is written, number one, it has to be the same dog and it has to have either been loose or bit somebody or something, right? It can't just be
Yes, it's
that
been,
they're afraid to walk down the alley. If
No,
it's
that's-
properly restrained, then there's nothing in the ordinance that allows us to do anything about them being afraid to walk down the alley because there's a dog in the neighbor's yard that's properly restrained.
that's not it. They've been loose. I didn't bring it, but I've got a thing where I wrote down all the times they've been loose.
Yeah, I mean, there has been reports that.
And
But
When we get there, they're not loose is the
They
problem.
weren't loose, so they'll, you know, he tried to make contact. We've even took the sheriff's department down there with.
I guess what needs to be done, get,
They
Yeah,
got,
they-
you know, they got some top out,
I don't mean,
which is fine.
yeah, that's
I mean,
fine.
I'm not
It's
saying that.
fine, but it happened. But, you know,
That's on
there's been
June
a couple
18th.
times that I know they've
June
been
18th.
there and the dog was.
you know, I mean, they keep getting by with this all the time, you know. And I mean, what's it gonna take for somebody to get mauled or a kid to get mauled to death? I mean, you know, you can't do nothing. And another thing, you know, they have these big explosions, fires. I mean, they're huge. I mean, and Jeff Darling's been there. He told them not to have no more fires at night, not to use gas or diesel. They still do it. But, you know, the dog situation,
Yeah, I think that's the key one, the dog. issue.
yeah, since 2020, it's been going on and several times. It's because Kelly told me when she was there, she said the first time they're loose, $50 fine. Second is 100. Third time they take them. Well, they've been probably over 20 or more.
It's just the
Oh,
animal control's gotta be there to catch them, you know.
I'll contact our legal counsel and ask if there's anything else that he knows of that we can do. I can sit here and tell you that that we will be reviewing the existing ordinance sometime in the near future. And there's some proposed changes that I would like to make, but that doesn't help you today. And the way things go in county government, the near future might be 6 months from now. Not to say that we're slow, but we're slow. It's just that simple. Nothing happens as fast as we want it to. So I think the best approach for me to take is to run this issue by legal counsel, and see if there's some type of state ordinance that we can go off of, to where there is something that we can do that we're not doing today. And if there is, obviously I'll be happy to do that. If there isn't, then the only thing I know to do, for us to do, is change our ordinance. I mean, it's that simple. We can't make up the laws as we go. We can make them up as we go along, but we can't enforce them until they're approved, right?
Well, yeah, but I mean, this has been going on, like I said, since 2020 and nothing's been done.
Well, I disagree with you to some extent. I agree that's been going on since
And,
2020.
And the one morning, kids was walking from that White House on the back road over to Gene Little's bus, and that dark one was loose and was growling and Adam and everything. Well, Jerry knows, she talked to him and then Zach when he was there. I mean, if you had kids, would you want them to be around them?
I don't know the dog's demeanor. I can't answer that question. Obviously,
You
if they're
could ask
aggressive, if they're
all the
aggressive, then
neighbors
no,
up there.
I wouldn't want my kids to be around them. But you're asking me a question that I can't answer because I don't know these dogs personally. I don't know their demeanor. Do I understand your concern? I absolutely do understand your concern, but I also have to operate within the laws that are provided to us that we have. And if, if when the animal control officer or director comes, shelter manager comes out, then the dogs are fast enough and you said they were loose.
They just,
I have no proof that they were loose.
they just leave the back door open and let them run. There was this gentleman that came, well, it was a second person that came to our house about a four-wheeler. Well, it was a scam, but anyways, then he went back there, was gonna ask them. Instead of them coming out and saying something to the man, they sent the dogs out and this gentleman told Gene Little and them that they about ate him up.
Yeah, and again,
So, you know,
I'm not saying I don't believe what you're telling me. But again, you telling me that a different gentleman said that the dog's about ate somebody else up is hearsay, and I have nothing.
yeah, I understand
to go
that,
off
but,
of other
but
than
as far
hearsay.
as us there, I mean, and the rest of the neighbors, you know.
Well, what can we do about them bombs he's making in fires? You can ask every neighbor there.
Jeff Darling's
If
been down there
if
once.
they're setting off bombs, you should be calling the sheriff's department.
Well, that does no good.
Well, you'll have to have that conversation with your sheriff because commissioners have no, I can tell you, we don't have a noise ordinance, so if it's a violation of if you are expecting to be a violation of a noise ordinance, this county does not have a noise.
He's the liability for that.
You should contact Ron if they start these fires, all that sheriff's department. You should contact.
I've called sheriff's department, that's what we get. I'm just gonna call the state fire marshal, I guess.
I mean,
And, gotta do something about these dogs.
and I feel for you, okay? I mean, with kids, grandkids, I understand. I mean,
Yeah.
I
I don't have
I'd be
grandkids. My
passionate,
neighbor does,
you
my other
know.
neighbor does, Keith them does, you know, I mean,
Like I said,
I'm
I will
sure if
reach
one
out.
of them get mauled, then they're gonna
Some
sue.
don't have very soon, it's gonna get physical.
Well, I'll reach out to legal counsel tomorrow. I don't want you to say it to me public. Leave me your phone number. I will call you tomorrow. As soon as I get a response from legal counsel, if there's something that we can do, again, I'll be happy to do it, but I can only operate within the guidelines that we have established today.
I understand y'all's frustration.
Well, it's not just us, it's the other ones too. I mean,
Gene back there, I don't-
yeah, and Debbie and Eddie Gregory, Sandy and Sambo Hickman,
Mhm.
Esther Cook and her brother Don, which Lisa's granddaughter goes there because her Esther's granddaughter too, and she has to play up on the deck. She can't play out in the yard or ride on her little bike on the sidewalk, you know, because two of them dogs just went over and tried to attack them when they got out of the car. I mean, Dawn and Esther now, so.
You heard about that, right?
Yeah, I've had calls. I've talked to Don.
Oh,
I mean,
yes,
it's a shame.
it's getting bad.
Yeah, and you know, at some point it could be, I mean, we have to again speak with legal counsel, talk to the sheriff. I mean, it could be coming to the point that it's becoming.
It doesn't do no good to take the sheriff there. He don't listen. He'll just cuss you out.
Well, but if going above and beyond just the dog laws, it could be that the property is becoming a common nuisance, and that's another reality. Could be looked at. You know, the fires, the dogs.
It is.
complaints,
I mean, we've called
I
and the
understand.
neighbors has called.
It's something to be asked
It
about.
shouldn't be crazy, you know, especially right in town.
Is it becoming a common nuisance according to the laws?
But
So, you know, I work with.
I got several
Jamie as
videos of
well.
the dogs on here too. But
You know, I work with Jamie as well to do we'll reach to our legal counsel and the powers that be that we can, see anything that we can do to remedy the situation. I even, as far as calling the owner of the property.
I assume that's Tannerite.
That's what?
I was just,
Tannerite.
I was just blazed up, right? And it just got blazed, right? That picture right there, that was.
That's the fire. And
So
it's went as high as the
okay.
house.
That's one.
He uses gas, a lot of gas. Cause he's done knocked this stuff on the ground once.
There's been complaints of
Those-
explosives, some type of explosives in the fire.
Yeah, yeah. I've seen the gas check over by there.
I went as far as talking to the homeowner.
He is nuts.
That this
There's
guy,
the fire chief.
Jeff
what
Darling, but
township is
he's
it?
been down there. He has told him. He told him not to have no more fires at night, not to use gas or diesel, but he doesn't listen. These people don't listen to nobody. They do what they want. And since they don't get nothing done, they just keep on doing it. That's just how they are.
We'll
He
look.
harasses me. He calls me names,
I know you, I understand your frustration. I know you don't particularly like my answers, but I'm
I
telling you
know.
what I can
I
tell
know,
you.
I
And
understand.
I can tell you what I will do. And I
Well,
have
she's got,
no problem doing it. I will get it done. And I will call you if there's something that we can do different. If it includes getting law enforcement involved, I will do that as well. But that's the extent of what I can do for you tonight,
Yeah.
anyway.
yeah, I understand. Okay.
You hang in there, okay, Lynn? You guys hang in there. Okay.
Pete, ADP,
Yvette did receive, Yvette did receive the bills from collections, but she's working, trying to reconcile them with the bills that we have from HP because they're not lining up. And before they are comfortable paying, we need them to equal out.
well, how long is it gonna take to do that? Because I'm getting a little bit impatient, I'll just be honest.
To my knowledge, she just got the bills,
She
like,
just got
it's
them.
been business days, like, we're not even over a week yet.
No,
Like,
I
we are
think she
very
got it maybe
recent in
last
this.
Thursday, maybe
Yeah.
even last Friday. And she tried to speak to them again today. They want us to return the time clocks. Is there a reason why we need to keep them or?
Well, I don't see any point in returning them. If they're truly gonna work with us and we're gonna implement ADP, then I don't see a reason to return them and then get them back in a month or whatever that timing is.
But see, they've charged us every month for those.
But that's the holdup, then return them. I mean,
You know what I mean?
there's no fee to get them back, correct?
No.
That's what I honestly don't know.
I mean, I'm fine if that's the holdup, but I mean, we've been playing this cat and mouse game since basically April and sitting on zero and moving nowhere.
Just, my understanding,
No, they
we're
won't.
still waiting. I mean,
We have to get this bill finalized before they'll.
we have waited on them for the most part during this entire time.
So it's safe for me to assume, not assume, to request that by our next meeting, the billing won't be an issue.
I would say that. I will say that.
Because right now, per ADP, that's our only issue. That's their only holdup is they don't want to move forward. Their finance department will not let them move forward until we get current with the billing. So we've got 2 weeks to do that. I think that's more than reasonable.
In return, time clocks.
If we need to return the time clocks, I could call them. I don't think the time clocks are really that an issue because I've already had that discussion with them more than once. So, but if that's what it takes, I'm happy doing it.
Well, I think we do need to get current notice. We do.
Oh, absolutely.
Gotta get it somehow.
Well, we're never going to get anything done if we don't.
Exactly. I mean, it's business.
So we've got, days, I guess 15th is our next meeting.
Yep.
So hopefully, and again, I will reach back out to Kate and see why the time clocks are an issue. And if they are, I'll just tell her we'll get a return. Not a problem.
I apologize, I don't know about the 9 o'clock issue so much, I just know that we're working to reconcile that
The bill.
there are two different sets of bills that don't have the same math. That I am clear on, I believe. We had a conversation this morning.
None of the numbers are matching up. Where one sentence and the other, it should just, to me, it should be go right down the line, but.
Board reports.
I zoomed in on meetings that was really just, the planning, last week. That was just really, discussing what each area and each county's strengths and weaknesses are, and what the plans are for moving forward. But it was really just an informational meeting. Each county discussing some of the things they would like to see forward in the future. But that's really all it was. Other than that, I haven't. So,
Frank, you got anything?
Yes, sir. We did have a school endowment meeting. That was on June 25th. Main topic was about 30-minute presentation of their long-term investments by a gentleman named Bob Casper. Our next meeting is in July the 23rd, and then I think we'll probably go having meetings every 3 months after that. But no, very, very informative presentation by that individual. 30 minutes. It was
Casper.
Casper. Kaspar.
I didn't have any board, meetings. I do have one Wednesday night, maybe Switzerland County Foundation, but. Anything else? Gary? Randy?
Randy's good as gold.
The only thing I have, you guys got the email that I sent you about the copier for the
Judges?
for the judge's office? I mean, Randy responded to the email, but the you hadn't, so.
I don't remember what the request was, other
Um,
than
he
$8,000
needs
or something.
7. Well, he could,
Yeah, so.
but, I mean, this is my only thing. He could, he does have the funds, but you guys have purchased the prior, everyone else's, I guess, I should say, so. That's the only thing that I, so it doesn't matter
maybe
to
that's
me
the
either
business
way.
we want to get out of. I don't, maybe I'm wrong.
Because we,
I don't recall the judge giving us any funding back at the end of the year, last year. Did he or did he not?
23, I can't, I mean, I think he did. I can't tell you how much, but.
It was a couple of weeks ago, right? Last week?
She said
Yeah.
that? Yeah, last
She
week.
sent that?
He's talking about the funding at the end of 20.
Yeah, I know that.
This was last week.
Yeah, the email. Okay, that's-
My 2 cents is I think we've got to get to a place where every department is budgeting their expenses instead of lumping them. We lump legal into the commissioners, we lump office supplies into the commissioner, we lump so many things into the commissioner. And then we don't truly know what each of those offices are spending because a lot of it's just the commissioners are absorbing. I think we need to get to where our budgets are much more detailed by office so that we truly know what that office costs us. County highway, everybody for that matter.
Well, prior, we used to, each office did have a line item for that, for a copier, for the maintenance and what have you. Yeah. You know, Janie would come in, get down how many copies we make, and that's how we based what we paid. But we were only leasing those copiers. Since then, we have went and some of them we purchased. I think the auditor's office got a new one right before I came in office, so. But we don't,
It's been discussed.
But I don't have a line item in
Each
my
different
budget.
office having different contracts and different copiers.
Well, I think,
Yeah,
I
so I
think we
mean,
should have a
You
central,
can Narrow that down.
I think we should have a central negotiation point
Yeah.
for everybody, but every department still has to include their departmental specific expenses in their budget as opposed to them rolling up under one, and then you really don't know. It's just like legal expenses. If it comes in 100,000 over this year, every office in the courthouse uses it. I don't know how much the commissioners actually use versus how much, and I don't even think it's broken down that way, on the billing, it may be.
it's
I don't
just,
know,
yeah.
but-
I know that you guys have a legal line,
I said
planning
that
and
last
zoning has a
year.
legal line, and I think that's about probably it.
That each,
And that's because planning is only using, is not using the county attorney, although they do also use the county attorney at times, right?
I mean, that's, I'm starting to
Should be
send out
shared
the
at
budgets
least.
now, so I mean, that's something, you know,
So I guess my opinion is, if we're ever gonna get to where we do truly itemize all costs by each individual office, why not start now? I mean,
well, I mean, there again, you guys also pay for all the paper.
paper, oh, I know.
yeah,
So, I mean,
we know.
who knows what I use
I mean,
in case.
and for me, it's not, I mean, it's all coming from the one big bucket of money. So it's all the taxpayers' money, but I still think it's good business sense to know what every office is spending, not diluting it by putting it in a big bucket and saying, well, here's what the total is. Don't know how much of that's the commissioners, don't know how much of it's the clerk, don't know how much of it's the auditor. I think it's reasonable for every office holder to truly understand their cost of operating their office. No different than anybody else, really.
The copier expense, the maintenance of the copier, the estimated amount of paper, the estimated amount of individuals. It comes from each
So
office.
it's need to be headline items on practically every office.
Same thing with legal
Items
counsel.
for copiers, but you guys,
Everybody calls our attorney and we pay the bill.
they changed that. Why? I think it had something to do with everybody paying
But I mean,
a lease fee, and you guys found out that it was cheaper, I believe.
that's what I kept thinking back when I first started in
Right.
council. It just seems like there was
I can't answer
there
that.
was line items everywhere for copiers and phones and everything.
Copiers.
Lisa, am I wrong on that? I mean,
You're absolutely right, and we there were copiers that were owned, and we were paying more for the ink for the copiers that were owned
But
than it would be to lease one and not have the maintenance or buy the ink. And, Matt,
Well, you still pay for the ink because they charge us by the page for whatever we
it
print.
goes over so many pages, yeah.
it ended up saving several $1,000s. You can ask Matt, he could probably tell you the exact amount, because he was the one that kind of took charge of it.
To
And,
charge, so we no longer lease any, we own.
yeah, there was a difference, but every single department had their own maintenance, their own
It was-
contracts, and it was a massive amount of money.
Wasn't there some discussion about, like, whether a central copier could be put in the hallway in some of these offices?
Well-
Not every office has their own. You all have a code that you put into the main one out in the hallway to print your stuff.
Yeah,
But
there was,
then-
there was some
Save.
discussion about that to save money also, but, there was, some privacy issues with things, and, so we ended up downsizing down or going to one contract instead of 8 different contracts, and it ended up, I'm gonna say $13,000 a year was saved just in one of the changes that was made. I know it was more than that, but that number's sticking in my head because it's been a few years since we've done it. But, Matt can probably, he doesn't forget anything, he'd probably tell you exactly.
how much is the judge requesting? Can you refresh my memory?
7,000, I mean, it's $69.95. He said he could pay for it.
I mean, if the judge would pay for it. That'd be great, you know, but I understand the need, you know,
Yeah.
my business, you know, where I work at,
They're
I make
copier,
copies
they're
all the
pretty
time. We wear them out all the time over
Yeah.
there, you know, so, I get it. Their life expectancy is,
low.
yeah, not that long, you know, so. And as much as we all like to go paperless, that is practically impossible. So,
Don't talk like that.
I'm sorry.
Don't talk like that.
Well,
We're gonna make it happen.
okay, I'm not gonna go off topic here. I'm
She
sorry.
said so.
Yeah.
Not
Anything
me.
else?
No,
That's all.
I'm
Still gonna have
Pete,
to throw the
yeah.
signs.
Yes, sir.
Anyone else have anything? Entertain a motion to dismiss.
Make that motion.
I'll second. Got a motion by Jerry, second by Jamie, all in favor. How are you, Mr. Phillips?
Pretty good. Y'all have a good day.
You too.
Thank you.
Be careful.
Papers.